Good morning. This is Steve with D9 Games. I want to do something a little bit different today and show everybody my setup. Also want to incorporate what we call player roles at the table. So I'll start with myself and then I'll buzz around and kind of sit at each seat and show you the idea of what 7 different classes and their player roles and kind of how we do it. And I've got some just examples and stuff in there. But anyway, as always, anything that might help spark an idea and creativity in your game is a win. So this is my GM's section here, where I have my disc golf bag that doubles as a GM bag. I got my wet erase markers over here. Got some towels over here, water bottle in the back. In here we got like pencils, dice. I keep my journal and my battle pad in there as well, but I pulled them out. Also my dice box. So that's kind of what I run. And in the front we got some pens. In here would I keep my little KT tape container lids, or Pringle lids are pretty good for our to hold our health dice. As you can see there, not very much health for the mage, but that's part of that deal. And then of course inside I got some extra, a little box for dice and whatnot, in case somebody forgets or does not have their dice. Boo. So that's my seat here. This is my journal. I try to journal even though we might have somebody journaling as part of the game, just in case they miss, or it helps me know where I'm at. So I've been doing, that's like my 3rd journal. So you can see back in December of 2024, Jim Murphy was GM in our game at the time. I called it the escape. There was 5 PCs that night, and then there's normally it's just a 1-page summary to get us going. Sometimes there's some fun little scribbles and different players. That's the different names of the players at the time. So anyway, that's my journal. This is my battle pad, which I always start off with from left to right around the table. Everybody's sitting there. So I got Merle the Mage. He's my note taker. That would be his player role. Gavin the Guard. He's the general. Leo the Fighter is taking on the player role of Quartermaster. Cliff the Bard, Chronicler, which would be the note taker. Like I said, I do that as well, unless I have a pretty consistent player that's going to start taking that over for me, which is great. But as a game master, you're responsible to make sure all this stuff's handled. And if you can pass out some of these tasks to your players, it keeps them engaged in the game, which is good. And most of the time you probably don't need that, but if you do, it kind of helps in that arena. Keep them engaged, and it takes some weight off of the GM. And the biggest reason not to be lazy or anything is you want your creativity to be at its max while you're running encounters, whether they are role play, adventuring, or combat. So we have Barkley the Scout is our mapper. He's got some graph paper for the scout in case they want to map out something. If they go off track, they got to make their own map, so they might not know how to get back. We have Judas, our priest. He's the caller, and a caller in our game, we'll talk more about it in a minute, but they pretty much, when things get chaotic at the table and everybody's talking back and forth and I want to do this, I want to do that, blah, 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 give them a few minutes to get involved and discuss and argue, which is great, big part of the game. And then I look at my caller and say, okay, Judas, what's the group doing? And then they make the decision for the entire group. That way it's not the GM taking agency. Henry the Rogue is the treasurer. I like to do that. So now I'm going to buzz around the table and just show you from the seat and the point of view of each one of the players. And of course, this is our 7 starting classes, and just linked these player roles to them. So here we are. We have Merle the Mage. Got a character sheet over here with the pencil. Good to have a pencil so you can erase and do the thing. We do health in a little tray, and it looks like Merle's running 14 health, and this party's level 1, level 2, something like that. But we've got our D9s here, got our health tray. The mini is out on the board, So you can see they came up the stairs, got past the trap statues, and they wandered their way into the Great Hall. And a mage is in the group somewhere, I believe, right there. Okay, so that's the mage, and of course the mage's task, ergo a pad and a pen, is to be the note taker, not the chronicler. The chronicler tells the tale. The note taker keeps track of NPC names, important mission, people that they need to touch base with, whatever. But I like to have a note taker at the table, so when the players look at me and go, "What was the name of that NPC?" I don't know. Ask your note taker. Merle, who was it? Right? So you're kind of delegating. It's good stuff. All right, next we have Gavin the Guard. We got a character sheet. Oh, I forgot to mention too, this is what we call the biz bag. So anytime you have off-season health, maybe you take some damage. Oh crap, man, I took 2 damage. Hey priest, can you heal me? Dang, there's a 3. I don't get the 3. So you get your heal back, and the 3 might go to the biz bag. You don't get it till the off season, and at the end of the night you'll throw it in here. Go on your character sheet and make a note of off-season damage 1. That way next time you play, you know that you don't get that health in your health tray. Okay, that's how we run it. So again, the mini for Gavin is out in the Great Hall. We got a health dice, we got some rolling dice, we got a character sheet. This is my best interpretation of making 100 of these, to where we've got our scores here. You know, 5 + 3 is 8, great. And then of course the targets are gonna be on the left, circled in red so you don't miss it. Give me a physical test. Okay, I need to beat a 10 with 2 dice. All right, well, let's get 2 dice. Let's make a roll. Hey, what do I got? An 11. I'm good. So I've succeeded on that check. Anyway, that's Gavin the Guard. All right, now we buzz around to the fighter. Forgot my fighter's name. I think it's Leo. So he's got his biz bag right there. He's got his mini in the Great Hall. His health tray. So we've got the fighter running 17 health to start. So that's there's 17 little health dice in there. Now he's got a pad and a pen. Why? Because the fighter is the quartermaster. Sorry about that. All right, so the quartermaster is going to keep track of any NPCs in the group. And I don't have it written down, but this particular band of heroes has, you might notice in there, some kind of staff holding, little green with the staffs. I think there's 3 or 4 of them in there. So he is going to be managing the NPCs or the helpers to the battle. So that's him. Next, we have the Bard. Cliff the Bard, got his character sheet, pencil, biz bag, and he has the journal because he's the chronicler. I like to run 3 pens with my journal, red, green, and blue. It's gonna have like a title, some little side notes, and the Bard will be hopefully taking that pressure off my shoulders and running the journal for the group. And then of course his health tray and his dice he's rolling. All right, next we have the Scout. Forgot the name of my Scout. It's over on my battle pad, but that's cool. Scout's got his biz bag, pencil, character sheet. Oh, and then there's the bag, the little red bag, put all his stuff in. He gets the graph paper because he's the mapper. The Scout in my game will be mapping. If they get off the grid and they need to figure out where they're at and how many miles from where and how many leagues from the next stop and whatnot. Health tray, dice. 2 more. And that'll be our 7 classes. Over here we have Judas, our priest. Got pencil, character sheet. He's running 18 health to start, so that should be 18 little mini dice in there. Got his dice. Mini's in the Great Hall, and he is the caller. So the priest is going to be my caller, like I mentioned a minute ago. Things get chaotic. There's discussions and arguments and blah, blah, blah. I look at the priest and say, what are you guys doing? And there's his biz bag. Last but not least, well, probably least, is the rogue. And of course the rogue's mini's out there in the Great Hall. There's his biz bag, character sheet, pencil. This is health tray, dice, and he's got a notepad because he's keeping track of the group's loot. Gotta have the rogue keeping track of loot. That way he can steal whatever he wants, put it on his sheet, and then anything he thinks the group needs to have will go into the group loot at the end of the session, they can decide who gets what. So those are the 7 roles, player roles. There's a couple more player roles if you want to use. Sometimes I'll do, if I have like an 8th player, or maybe somebody just doesn't want a journal or whatever, they could be the rules lawyer, so you can keep track of rules and keep it on hand to refer to during the game. And there's a couple more roles, and you probably have your own type of roles that you need. Maybe you got somebody who's running over to the kitchen and grabbing snacks and drinks for everybody. That could be a player role too. Somebody to keep track of music if you like to run music in your game. But yeah, that's that. The one thing I think I forgot to mention, dang it, and it's an important one, is the fighter's the quartermaster, but the guard is the general. So in my game, I like to have a player be the general, which simply means when there's battle or movements to be made, I have my general move the minis. I don't move the player minis. I'll move the foe minis, I'll move the NPC minis, the monster minis, but I don't touch the hero minis. I let the player's general take care of that. So just to recap, we got note taker. I like my mage to be the note taker, but it can be any class you want. I have the general who moves the figs around, the hero figs. I have the quartermaster who's in charge of maybe hits on the NPCs. So like if you're using 3 or 4 NPCs, maybe there's villagers that are helping the group come to battle or adventure. I like to actually run those 1 or 2 hit minions or whatever the case may be to keep it simple. Or maybe they're just carrying equipment or doing something for the group, whatever. We have the chronicler. So our bard typically does the journaling, chronicling. We have a mapper who's going to keep track of different locations and distances and things like that. And if you get deep in a dungeon, they can draw it out. And you know what mapping's all about. The priest is the caller, the one that speaks for the group. And then, of course, the rogue, in this case, would be the treasurer. So those are 7 of the player roles. This is probably the second video I've done about player roles, but I kind of wanted to set it up so you can see at the table. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this is a big map. This is a really big one, and I have a fairly large table, but there just doesn't look like there's a lot of room here. But anyway, that's how I set up my game. Those are the player roles, and I hope any and all of that could help you. Until next time, peace.